Way too clear, dude. Way
Yes,
too
and we're
fucking
live
clear.
with our first ever episode of 3 Minute and an Opinion. That's going to be a mouthful.
And a skull.
Wait a minute. Do we only have one opinion? It's going to be a really boring podcast if we only have one opinion. We have 3 minutes and one opinion.
If you disagree, you're off.
I agree. End of show.
Well,
I'm train wrecking the first one. Hey, what do you expect?
what's new, really? What's new? I mean, that's all you ever do. You train wreck our episodes.
Hey, that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Why would that?
Well, see, here's the interesting thing about us doing this now is that we are now actually have our faces instead of our voices. We can't hide behind our gamer tags. So
well,
Brad,
I can.
I'm the host. We have co-host Spark Soccer, who has a lovely what is that?
It's a blue heron.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you don't see his face because that would literally break the camera and shoo off all of our listeners. And then we have Asphalt Ranger, who has the what is that? The Punisher cap on.
And apparently, Brad is well, number one, your camera works much better in the little box down there. Otherwise, it's like watching 80s porn on Showtime when you don't get it. Because it's like chop, 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 chop.
Well, see, what's funny is the same thing with Ranger. That's what Rangers looks like, or what Tom's looks like. It's completely like choppy. It's really, really.
Oh.
I think it's your internet, dude. His looks fine to me.
No, it's in it. When it's in the small boxes, it's good.
Yeah, the small box looks fine. It's when you're big, it's like, yeah.
Incredible cosmic powers, teeny bitty living space.
I wish we could get rid of that and have all three of us on the screen at the same time.
I'm sure there's a way. There has to be a way.
Anyway. So for those of you who have never listened to us before, we used to be on the Madison Gamers Radio podcast. We did that for years, but
we did the Geeky Gamer.
I hate
before that.
Yeah, before that there was Geezer Radio, but I mean, it is a piece of crap technology. Yes, I said it. Skype, you can no longer ban me.
Don't worry, they're just going to have a Russian take over your account, just like they did with the other one.
So, I mean, we for the longest time, I just said, I don't want to have to deal with Skype, and we didn't have an episode for like 3 months. Enjoyed that.
Kind of enjoyed what? Not talking to us?
No, just not having an episode, having to worry about editing the episode, posting it on Facebook, or posting it on the internet. Even now, this is becoming a little bit more cumbersome. I'm very anxious to see what what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like when we post it on YouTube.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right, so what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about gaming first? We want to talk about so basically, let's talk about what this podcast and what this is going to be doing. We're basically just three guys who love to chat about
bullshit.
Bullshit at each other. That's all we love to do. We love talking to each other. I think the first thing, if I have to say anything, thank you, Microsoft and Phil Spencer, for backwards compatibility. I can now play my favorite game ever on my Xbox One, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic.
Now,
I thought it was King Sneak from Burger King.
No. That's there was another Burger King one that I really liked. That was second best on my list.
Oh, is that the one?
I thought that was Barbie Horse Adventure.
No, Barbie Horse Adventure is number 3.
Okay, all right. Your list changes all the time. All right.
It's so confusing.
So the only question I have with that is, I know that they announced it with Crimson Skies. Now, is it, by my understanding, because I haven't dug out my disc yet, I'm assuming that there's no live support for these games. It's only the single player. Is that correct?
That no official live support. I saw somewhere that somebody used a software package to actually play online with their friends.
Right.
I don't remember what the package was off the top of my head, but they used it. They said
it's the old trick of doing a VPN-ish style thing through your PC and doing essentially LAN gaming.
Yeah.
So, but you don't get the matchmaking capabilities. You don't get the 16-person groups that you could with Crimson Skies.
No, you pretty much got to know the people you're gaming with,
and everybody has to be playing the same game and all that. I mean, yeah, it's very old school in the way it's done. It would be nice if they were somehow able to emulate the original Xbox Live, so you could actually, use the functionality of the games.
I'm really surprised that they haven't been able to do that at least.
I remember it was a big deal when they shut down the original Xbox Live servers.
I remember those guys, that there were a group of Halo players who were playing for Halo for like 2 months after they shut it down because they didn't kick people off. They just disallowed further connections.
Right. So
we're just not going to get off.
That was pretty much the attitude, and actually, I mean, it was Major Nelson was actually posting about them and cheering them on and all that sort of shit, just because it was fun for a nostalgia type thing.
And that's the one thing I love about Microsoft. They tend to side with the gamers a lot.
Well, in some ways.
I mean, they could have been total asshats about it and kicked them off the network, but no, they didn't. They cheered them on.
True, but it would have been bad press if they did, and it wasn't hurting them to do it. So,
and that's my point. They could have been total dicks about it. Totally.
If it was Sony, they would have been total dicks about it.
I wasn't going to say that because my quote unquote Sony bias that doesn't really exist, but you're right. Exactly right. Nintendo would have done it had they had it, but they would actually have to have an online network to do that in the first place.
Haven't they gotten that right with the Switch yet? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, there's a network, but the funny thing is you could play games, you could do multiplayer with Splatoon and some other ones, but voice functionality comes off of a mobile phone.
Wait, what?
I knew I was going to lose people there.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm just sitting here thinking, 2017. We're doing this. Xbox Live has been doing voice chat for over a decade, and with Nintendo, you have to make a phone call.
They're relying on mobile devices for that to free up bandwidth and stuff for the Switch.
So I have to tether my Switch to my phone, is what you're saying, or how does it work?
Listen to your phone and try to listen to the Switch at the same time, or you could do what my 16-year-old does, which really irritates me. You can have the earbuds for your phone go in, and then you put the headphones on top of it, so you hear both, and you don't hear anything else. The house could burn down, and you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right, Nintendo. Great job. I mean, I understand the Switch is portable and all that shit, but when you're sitting at home with even in the US where broadband capabilities do tend to lag behind some, sitting at home with a 2017 bandwidth capable package, I can't imagine the Switch is pushing that much data that they couldn't do voice chat over it. But whatever.
I just think it's funny that I'll have the Switch in hand, and if I want to use voice, I have to break out the phone. It's like, okay.
Wow. Okay. Learn something every day.
Yeah, that's just annoying as hell. It's almost like having a PlayStation Network and talking to somebody over live while you're playing PlayStation.
Yeah, because that was.
I didn't know anybody who did that before.
I know we want to mention it like every time we talk about bad network connections.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's like, okay, we were using cell phones at first, so it's like, okay, I have an idea. Why don't we try Xbox Live for voice and the PlayStation to play? And it worked.
Well, it wasn't a bad PlayStation Network. It was the game we were playing didn't have a lobby system. So every time you created a new match, you had to rejoin on the match, and that was taking more time than the match itself.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. So,
Good job,
yay. All right. But I'm loving the fact that we can go back and play KOTOR. That game was a hell of a lot of fun. It took me completely. That was actually the first game I ever bought for the Xbox platform. First game ever. I still have the disc actually.
Yep, I'm gonna dig out Crimson Skies just for the nostalgia, but it's gonna be disappointing without live.
Right.
I wish I had Crimson Skies to be able to play it. So
Yeah, you can probably pick it up cheap, I would imagine.
Actually, you can go into the marketplace and buy it for $10.
What was that?
Xbox Live Air. Xbox Live Marketplace. All the games are there for $10 to $15.
Okay, you're coming. I caught that, but you're coming through like really pixelated and jaggedy. I don't know. New platform, working through the technical issues.
Right. This is our first episode. We're testing for the first time.
So maybe you can just come down to my house and record, since I have obviously better internet service.
Well, you have better internet service because you have only audio coming out of it. You don't have video.
Well, there's that too. Again, here's the smart one here. So,
well, the people have to see who they're talking to, don't they? This is a video chat, not audio podcast.
I just picture a shorter, hairier Ryan Gosling.
No, more like a fedora wearing hipster.
I do not own a fedora. I do not own a fedora.
Do you have a beard?
I had a beard before hipsters were hip.
Okay. Do you have a cool, funny T-shirt on? Possibly a science fiction type shirt?
No, actually, I have a very old Dilbert sweatshirt on at the moment.
Son of a
even worse.
How do they know?
All right. So what else is going on? You want to talk movies? You want to talk about more video games, or what?
Well, since
you know what I would like to talk about?
Go. For
video games, I would like to talk. EA disabled or shut down Visceral for their Xbox game, that Star Wars game.
Star Wars game.
That it getting shut down was the first I'd actually heard of it. I'll be honest. So I don't know what we were losing.
It had to do with more the fact that it was a single player game and there were no microtransactions that they were looking to put into the game, and it wasn't multiplayer, and that wasn't the model that EA supposedly wanted to go for, but that's all hearsay.
Right.
Well, they've got Battlefront 2 coming out. Check all those boxes. So.
Oh yeah, check the microtransaction box.
See, here's what I want. I wanted another Horizon Zero Dawn. I know I keep mentioning that. I know I keep talking about how wonderful that game is, but it's a freaking awesome game.
What studio? Microsoft hired somebody for a game, and they even mentioned in the description Horizon Zero Dawn style environment.
I would play the crap out of it if it were good. I would love even better if I had a Star Wars game in that universe.
Or in that style.
Oh, yeah. And we were almost there.
That's what universe game. What'd you say, Ranger?
And we were almost there.
We were almost there. Effing EA.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? I mean, that's gaming in 2017, unfortunately, and we can segue that since it came out, and that I know I always beat it to death on the other one, but as we all know, Forza 7 has launched ahead of the Xbox One X. Came out, what, 3 weeks ago now?
Yep.
And oh my god, what an unmitigated disaster it was. The launch.
Is it still?
Yeah, they're trying to repair it. Oh, I'll give them that much.
They're trying to repair it, but they suffered. They did the same shit when 5 launched. And if you go back and listen to our podcast, go back into the history logs for when 5 launched, it was the same thing. It was, they shoved it full of, well, they went even worse this time. It's full of the loot crate mechanic. Open it up and you might get something great, and it probably won't be. All with the hopes of getting people to spend real money on the game. And they removed things that have been, just basic parts of the game. You increase the difficulty in the game. You go with a manual transmission. You turn off stability management. You turn off traction control. You turn off anti-lock brakes. It boosted your credits. All that wiped out. That doesn't have any effect on the final payout at the end of a race. Now, the only way you can increase the payout is increasing the AI difficulty, which means, hey, they just get magical boosts in speed. So they really, really, really geared the game towards selling these loot crates, selling mods, and your chances of getting cars, because there's a number of cars that are locked. You can only get through the specialty dealer, blah, 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 bullshit, 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 instead of just buying the car you want. Then on top of that was the VIP bullshit. Again, VIP, since they introduced it with the original Horizon, was you buy the VIP, you get the VIP car pack, you get other bonuses, they'll send you other cars, and you always got double credits. Not this time at launch. Oh no, they gave you three mod cards that you could use 5 times each, or maybe it was 5, I don't know, but that doubled your credit. So you could have, I think, 25 races instead of the full VIP bonus like you used to have. That came out, when people bought the Ultimate Edition, which gave you a couple days early access, and everybody rightfully flipped their shit. And so, of course, after the game launched and the reviews said, hey, this pretty much sucks the way they're screwing this over, that's when they started saying, oh, well, we'll fix it. Well, it's been 3 weeks. They still haven't fixed it. It's still not there yet. They still haven't patched it. Not one word since they said they would. So who knows when it will be fixed. Yes, they may be fixing it. Any which way, it was very, and I know, Brad, you said how Microsoft was gamer friendly before. In some ways, yes, but like in this way, they're absolutely not. And that's right. It was just dickish. It was anti-gamer. It was, let's see how much money we can suck out of these people who already paid $100 for the fucking game.
Yeah.
And see, here's where I'm confused a little bit, because I understand what they did with Forza, and they pretty much did the same thing with Gears 4. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen to Crackdown. Microtransactions are the coin phrase of the day, I guess, or the idea du jour.
Right. Well, they're the idea that they think that they're going to ride it to the bank, because you see how much stupid games like Candy Crush and Farmville and all these other ones where you bought these little things for 99 cents a piece, or Angry Birds or whatever, on your phone, that you sat there and fiddled with for hours, and you just dropped $1 till you'd paid $30,000 worth of coins for whatever. That's what they want to get in on, but putting it on top of a game you've already paid for, which is
no doubt. And it's a really shitty practice. Unfortunately, I don't see it going anywhere until people finally stop doing that. Stop buying credits, stuff like that. Because I think I saw somewhere that the biggest whales for those whales with people who buy a lot of those things cancel out the people who don't avoid buying it.
Oh, I'm sure they do, because you have people who have more brains and more money than brains.
Right. And until that changes, guess what's going to continue to happen?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Here's why I'm confused. Because I can go in my my garage, pick out my KOTOR disc from 2004 into my Xbox One and play a 13, 14-year-old game without having to pay a cent.
Right. Yeah, and that's great. It's very, very screwy. I mean, on one hand, you got the hardware team that's doing all this stuff, the core team that's making all these improvements, and they've drastically improved the quality of the Xbox One since it launched. But at the same time, Turn 10's a Microsoft studio, so it's still under Microsoft games. So, which do they like us? Do they hate us? Do they just want to suck us dry? Because hey, let's face it. Yeah, you can go grab your disc for KOTOR, but how many people still have their original Xbox games? They want you to go and buy it from the marketplace again.
My son decided is in here, and he's almost asleep. My wife is carrying him, and it hurts her. All right, you guys can carry on talking, and I'll be right back after I help my wife.
So,
and change the diaper.
Have fun.
But you have some games like Overwatch where it works out great. There's people you can read. I just looked in the forum. There's people saying, I've spent 200 euros. I've spent $150 just on loot crates.
Yeah.
For aesthetic purposes. It's like, really? It's like, you guys are insane.
And I'm not even gonna argue the aesthetic purposes. If costumes mean that much to you, and you want to buy them extra, fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck about. The problem comes down with in Forza, it's actually parts of the game. It's the cars in the game that you get out of the loot crates. It's not paint jobs, it's not driver suits, it's not anything like that. It's things that directly affect gameplay. I've never had a problem with paying extra for costume changes or something like that. I've never had a problem with DLC. You want to give me, 6 cars for $10 or 8 cars for $10? Sure, if I like it, I'll buy it. If you want a racetrack or a new map in Halo or whatever, that's fine. That's fine. I understand that there's cost beyond initial development. But when you put core parts of the game in there where people can pay real money and just buy it,
yep,
that affects gameplay, especially in a multiplayer game, that sucks.
And I was so mad when I got it, because I got the Ultimate Edition, and when I opened it up and I got into the game, and it was like, these are loot crate boxes, and these are temporary. I mean, yeah, I think I got like 3 cars or something, but other than that, I mean, everything was just temporary.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, this is stupid.
And I know you play on PC. Did you ever play Apex, Forza 6 Apex on the PC?
Yes.
Okay, so like how you had in each race, you had the different goals you had to meet.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I was really hoping they were going that way, and that's sort of almost what they did with the mod crates, except for the mod cards, but they're just not that challenging. It's like, okay,
No.
make a perfect pass. Okay, easy enough. So where's the actual challenge in that?
Exactly.
It's just, it's such a jarring thing. Again, it takes away from the core mechanics of the game, which at its heart, it's still Forza. It's still fun racing. It's still everything there. It's just, they just piled a bunch of shit on top of it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now that I've got that off my chest, I've been waiting for weeks to say that one. So.
All right. So, what's the future of gaming? Is it going to be these loot crates, or do you think we'll eventually go back to the single player or multiplayer games? Like, I don't know. Are loot crates the future, or do you think it's going to swing back the other way?
They're going to be the future for a while. They're not going anywhere because
Yeah.
companies are making money off of it. What I hope is that the loot crate concept and everything does not destroy the concept of single player games.
I think. Go ahead, Ranger. Go ahead, Spark.
Well, I was just gonna say, well, look at Shadow of War. I haven't played it yet, but it involves that, and there's no multiplayer in Shadow of War, is there?
Well, yes, there is. You can upload a fortress and have it go against other players. You can't simultaneously fight, but you upload your fortress, and if somebody beats, like, say you open a loot crate and you get this orc and you want to use this orc, and you upload him in your fortress, this is my understanding, and it goes up into the multiplayer universe, and that orc dies, you lose him. He's gone.
Yeah. So, but it's not direct multiplayer. So.
No.
So I mean, for the most part, you could say that, yeah, the loot crates are also affecting the single player game in Shadow of War. I think it's going to infiltrate everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And as far as consoles and AAA, big name games go, I don't see it changing.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Sad state of affairs.
Yes, it is. Because until it stops making money, they're going to do it. Which is kind of what happened with Kinect.
Do you think? I think that this is really going to, these microtransactions are going to seriously lead to the downturn, the second death of the gaming industry. You had the death in the 1980s with Atari making just crap games and oversaturating the market. Fortunately, Nintendo came back and saved the day. What's going to happen? Is Xbox One X going to be the last console made? I think Sony will make another console, the PS5, but yeah, I don't see a major recovery from this at this time.
Well, let's also back up and I mean, all mine is strictly, Xbox gaming with a small side of PC gaming at the moment. What are the other major publishers doing? Is Nintendo doing loot crates yet? Have they done that?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, maybe it's just the rise and fall of certain platforms.
Well, really, is Nintendo even competing with Microsoft and Sony at this point?
In some way they are, because there's only a certain number of hours and a certain amount of money to go around. Are they competing head on with AAA console games?
No.
The battle for the living room. No, they're doing their own thing, and hey, good for them.
And they have their own fanboys, and
they could very well be insulated from this sort of looming loot crate crash.
Right.
So, throwing it out there that it may be only in the space we see it. So.
All right. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about games? Or we want to move on to movies or music or something to television?
Well, considering we did games for 10 years, and I think I think that's enough of that for right now.
I agree.
Let's do some other stuff.
All right. Does anybody want to talk about the Star Wars, the Last Jedi trailer? Spoilers alert. I mean, well, I don't think there's spoilers. It's a trailer. You haven't seen it. I don't know.
But even Mark Hamill and the director said to shy away from the pop figures and the new trailer because of possible spoilers.
I think that they're trolling us on that one.
Yeah, there's might be a little of that.
Well, they know the hype is beyond anything, so everybody's going to be trying to read into it.
Right.
I got to be honest. Last time I bought my tickets in March, I haven't even bought my movie tickets yet.
I don't think you're going to need to. The movies do not sell out anymore.
Unless you want to go to the first showing opening night, like a certain person that's on this podcast.
Me.
Or whatever we call what we're doing now. Yeah. It might be a week before I get to see it, so I don't think I need to worry about that.
It does look awesome, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I have no shame in admitting that I bought my Last Jedi tickets already just because I want to make sure I have them and don't have to worry about it that day.
Yeah, last one I showed up, and you got to remember the theater next to me is not like the theater you have there. It's smaller in size. We showed up an hour and a half early, and it was packed, man. There was like 5 people dressed out like stormtroopers. There was the Darth Maul. I mean,
yeah.
So I would like to, on that, I saw a thing on the Star Wars subreddit, of course, about the movie poster. If there's something very telling in that poster.
Are you referring to how Mark Hamill is in the background and all the villains are always in the background?
Correct.
Yes, that was mentioned a couple times. I have my own theories. I don't know how accurate they are. They're just theories. I don't know if I should go into them here because I don't want to.
Why not?
Okay, fine. You want to hear my theory? I think that Supreme Leader Snoke somehow was created through Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker turned to the dark side and produced Snoke. Okay. And as long as one of them is alive, the other one, as soon as the other one dies, the other one, both will die at the same time. If one dies, the other dies.
So you think they're somehow connected?
Yes. That's why he's that's why he's so afraid.
Okay.
And that goes down with my theory that I think Rey is a Palpatine.
I like that theory. That's a cool theory. The other thing I think is that supposedly, and I don't know how true this is, maybe they're just trolling us again, but Disney trolling us, but they told the investors that the first lines that Skywalker says is, "Who are you?" to Rey. And I don't think that that's true. I think he knows her. I think she accidentally destroyed the Jedi Temple. That's kind of hinted at in the trailer, and so he knows her really. I don't know. These could be wild guesses that aren't even remotely true.
Or maybe it's a rhetorical question. Maybe he's asking her who she is. Think about it this way. Because she got left on the planet, she has no memories of being a young kid. Maybe she was the only survivor and he wiped her memory. I mean, let's face it, it's not that far of a step from the Jedi mind trick to making it just a little more permanent, especially on a young kid.
Right. I think her memories are still there. He just needs to unlock it.
Right.
If you watch The Force Awakens, yeah, I didn't catch it the first time, but the second time I saw it, you'll see before they show him on the island planet, Kylo Ren is interrogating Rey, and he says, "Islands, islands, islands. I see a lot of islands." Right there. So she's been to those islands before.
Possibly.
So I think she's responsible for the Jedi Temple being destroyed. It's kind of odd how the Knights of Ren survived if Luke Skywalker survived. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, do we know that all the Knights of Ren survived?
I think read somewhere that they did.
Because we only saw them in that one little flashback.
Right, but they could be off doing their own things.
Yeah, you don't think they would be on Starkiller Base if...
No, because Kylo's the strongest of them. He's the only one with a lightsaber. They could be out searching for Sith artifacts.
Maybe. Again, I'm going only on the movie, so...
Yes.
I know who Rey isn't a daughter of, Darth Vader, and hear me out. But I'm pretty sure that when he fell into the lava thing or fell next to it, I'm pretty sure Captain Winky got burned off.
You mean granddaughter of Vader?
No, he means daughter.
I don't think that thing was usable anymore.
Well, okay, all right. But wouldn't she be a little bit older if it was his daughter?
Not theoretically. You've considered about 20 years has passed. So if somehow Darth Vader was able to get it up right before the second Death Star exploded, and
you know, Ranger, you make a good point, but I would imagine in this world, if they could recreate a hand, they could recreate other things.
But they can't create. Okay, we're not going to go there.
But it would have been it would have been a robotic hand. Or in this case, a robotic thing.
Well, see, and they don't forget that Anakin Skywalker was created himself through midichlorians. Remember?
Oh yes, midichlorians.
No, that never happened. Prove to me that happened.
Read the novel.
The novel for what?
Revenge of the Sith.
What is Revenge of the Sith?
It's episode 3.
We don't talk about those episodes.
No. Episode 3 was Return of the Jedi.
That's episode 6. Thank you very much.
We don't talk about the prequels.
There's only 3 Star Wars movies. There's only 3 Star Wars movies. Then there's
and they started with 4.
And then there's Rogue One. There are no movies before the original Star Wars.
Episode 4, A New Hope. Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Episode 6.
I can't help it if George Lucas can't count.
Hey, I didn't make up the system, all right? I'm just saying what it is.
Episode 1, The Arrogant Pod Racer.
Episode 1, I hate sand.
Episode 2,
episode 2,
I still hate sand.
Episode 3, fuck the sand.
And the people that live there.
All right. So, did anybody see any recent movies at the theater? Nobody got Movie Pass, but me and my wife.
I don't have any place that takes Movie Pass.
I haven't gotten the Movie Pass yet, and I have not gotten the babysitting pass. So,
did you sign up for it though?
No, we haven't. I mean, we talked about it, but every weekend since August, haven't even had time to think about movies.
There's a babysitting pass?
Yes, it's called In-Laws.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We saw Geostorm last Friday.
I haven't even heard of that movie.
You're one of the lucky ones.
It's a racing movie based on shitty's 90s cars.
Oh.
I I want to see Geostorm just because it looks so bad.
It is horrible. I thought it was going to be like what was it called the Day After Tomorrow bad or 2012 bad. No, it's Battlefield Earth bad.
Oh wow, that's
Yes.
bad.
Wow.
So it's not even enjoyable bad. It's not even
No.
It's not even the core bad.
No.
See,
The
I
core
was
is
thinking,
good compared to bad.
I thought Geostorm was something like the core, just by name. It's like, okay, so they're going to travel to the center of the earth. The Hillary Swank's going to be there, and people are going to get crushed.
No. Geostorm. My favorite part about Geostorm is Gerard Butler walks. And I'm not spoiling anything. This is not like a crucial point, but he walks into the space station with a bunch of other engineers. He has his name tag on like right here, right? So you can read his name tag, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm an American. I'm wearing an American flag, but I'm actually British." And they're all just making fun of him because he's a British guy wearing an American flag on his shirt. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Jake Lawson." And they're like, oh, "Jake Lawson? Could you not read his name tag right here? Seriously?"
Well, let's face it. They didn't really read the script either, so.
Oh, the other thing I love is that the self-destruct on the space station blows up in sections. It just doesn't blow up. The whole thing doesn't blow up. It just like, oh, the air tanks go. Those are the first to go. You better hurry up. Really? Why in the world would self-destruct destroy in phases?
Well, if you want to be sure, that's how you would do it. Just like a building demolition. They don't set off all the charges at once. They want the building to fall in a certain direction. So I can give them a pass on that.
Yeah, it's kind of like your hard drive when you go to format it. Are you sure?
Yeah.
But
see, here's the thing. Okay, so self-destruct takes about the self-destruct takes like what 15 to 20 minutes for the countdown. So the first thing to blow as soon as this countdown starts are the air tanks, or like the one of a certain thing of tanks, right? It blows up like boom, and it says, okay, we got about 10 more minutes before the next thing blows.
Wouldn't the air tanks be the last thing to blow up?
I don't think it wasn't the air tanks, but it was like tanks of things around it. But I mean, the whole point is, why the hell would that just blow up?
Well,
why not the whole station?
That and once something explodes, stuff goes in all directions. So wouldn't it really just puncture the stuff that hadn't exploded yet?
Yes. The whole movie doesn't make any sense. The whole movie doesn't make any sense. It's Battlefield Earth bad. The core is Citizen Kane compared to Geostorm.
I will watch it at some point, I'm sure.
And then again, we're sitting here trying to make sense of a Gerard Butler movie.
Hey, don't you knock? What's that name? What was the name of the movie?
Gladiators.
Law-Abiding Citizen.
Oh,
that movie was rocking. All right, is there anything else? You guys want to call the show?
In 2 days, Stranger Things season 2 comes on.
I heard it released today.
No, it wasn't on Netflix an hour ago.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that maybe they're saying the stuff that's releasing soon. But I saw a news saying that Stranger Things season 2 released. It was a news article. I didn't get a chance to check Netflix though.
No, I was looking at Netflix before I jumped on here.
No, it should be the 27th.
Yep.
Okay. Well, 2 days. I can wait another 2 days.
All right. Also, TV. Go ahead, Ranger.
No, I was trying to think. It's like, did they do an episode every week, or did they just release the whole thing?
Yeah, they dumped the whole thing. So we forced ourselves to watch one a night instead of just binging the whole thing.
I think we watched 4 in a night.
Nope. I'll be done by the end of the night.
American Vandal. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. Who drew the dicks?
Yeah, you did mention that. I've been meaning to go back, but again, I've been slammed in playoff baseball, which is now over. So,
right.
So, I have not watched that yet. And of course, a plug for my favorite new show, which is The Orville. If you haven't watched it yet,
I've seen the commercials.
I'm waiting for the season to end before I binge it.
And Ranger, I'll tell you what I told Jedi. The first episode is rough. Muscle your way through that, and then get on to the next ones. It really is like 90s Star Trek all over again, with a little bit more humor involved.
With Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, which, you know, I'm not a huge fan of his anyway, but the show is really, really, really great. I've been loving the hell out of it. So,
quick question about The Orville. Is it serialized, as in like it has a whole plot line that goes from beginning to end, or is it just individual episodes?
It's episodic, so it's again, it feels a lot like the Next Generation Star Trek, where every episode stood on its own, except for maybe the occasional two-parter or something like that. But there are larger themes in play, but there's not an overarching story, at least not yet. I mean, we're only 6 episodes into the first season.
Right.
But there are, there is carryover and there is continuity between episodes. But it's not like a Lost or a Battlestar Galactica where it's this whole overarching season story going in. It's here's this and these are the guys. Now, will that change? Maybe. But for right now, no. It's pretty self-contained.
All right. Back to American Vandal real quick. For those of you who haven't, if you don't want to do it because you don't want to watch it because it looks like a stupid, silly show, it starts off, the first episode's kind of silly and kind of like parodying itself, but it turns serious, and like it's still parodying it, but it goes, if you like Making a Murderer or the O.J. Simpson story, was it the American Crime Story, O.J. Simpson? It's a lot like that. It's very. There are parts when you're like, oh my god, I can't believe how satirical that is, but it's so true of what they would normally do. It's really good. I highly recommend it.
All right, and that's Netflix, you said?
Yeah. Yes, and the whole show is only 4.5 hours long. I mean, so it's like eight like half-hour episodes with one 40-minute episode.
Okay, so that's something you can get through fairly quickly. Okay.
Exactly. So I highly recommend that. All right, Ranger, you got any recommendations except Stranger Things 2?
Nope, that's my recommendation.
I'll be watching it. I probably won't be watching it for a week or so. So no spoilers, okay?
I'll try.
Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our initial podcast or initial broadcast, I guess. So look forward to some of more of these coming out. So later, we don't have a plan for. We're not going to do every other week like we used to do with the other show. So we'll see.
So let's do the YouTube thing. So be sure to hit the like button down here in the corner and subscribe and leave us a comment on what you think. What should we talk about? And like, hey guys, what's up? And yep, we're out. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Coming from the guy who doesn't even have a